Brady. This week they got Brady.
We're literally doing it differently from everybody else.
As a matter of fact, moving forward from this point on, I will not make reference to PFF.
Ready to get into it?
Yeah.
All right. We're going team by team.
I would be very careful about slinging stone.
Am I going to get sued?
You got legal on this?
Let's send you out on the right note. PFF sucks. Have a great day, everybody.
Wow.
Welcome to the PFF NFL show. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Max Chadwick, filling in for the fellas this morning. Here to talk a little offensive and defensive rookie of the year with you guys. Max, how the hell are you, my friend? It's been, over a week, maybe 2 weeks at this point? I don't really understand time since we were on the desk for day 3 of the 2024 NFL draft. How you doing, man? How have things been since?
I'm doing great, man. I actually caught a pretty bad cold right after the draft was over. I'm pretty sure it was my body telling me, all right, you got to stop now. It's over. Fortunately, I'm better now. I wanted to ask you, though, Trev, have you already dug into the 2025 class? You have your top 200 big board ready to drop on PFF.com this morning.
Yeah, I didn't stop at top 250. I actually went to 2,000. So
Okay,
we're going to have,
cool.
the top 2,000 ranked prospects for the 2025 NFL draft up for you on the site later this evening. No, I have not yet because I'm not an absolute sicko like you and Dalton are, although I will be in a couple of weeks when Connor and I get to do this for summer scouting. But yeah, man, I am kind of excited to turn the page, but I am still interested in kind of talking about these landing spots with you because, being on the desk for day 3, you and I got to talk a lot about the prospects that were really fortifying the depth and some sleepers, some gems of the 2024 NFL draft. But we didn't talk nearly as much about the guys who were drafted at the top because we talked about those, on the night 1 and the night 2 stream with those guys. And so today I am actually excited to get your takes on those top guys and who can win offensive and defensive rookie of the year. So instead of just saying, oh, here's our top 5 candidates for defensive or offensive rookie of the year, because that would be extremely boring because I feel like Max and I would have like the same group. What we're going to do in the spirit of the draft is draft these candidates. So we're each going to draft 5 players, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, against one another. But the true curveball here is that we're going to be doing these at the same time. So, for example, I could draft a offensive rookie player with the first pick, and then Max could go, okay, well, I'm going to take my first defensive rookie of the year selection. So we're going to be drafting these 2 position groups against one another. It's going to be fun. Up the competitiveness a little bit as we get to have a conversation about some of these guys and their fits and how we could see them playing in 2024. Max, I already saw you talk a little bit of smack here.
I was, Trevor. I already made a full big board, dude. I feel really good.
How deep is the big board?
I've got 10 players for each offensive and defensive. Are we doing 5 total? Or are we doing like 10 total, 5 offensive, 5
we're
defensive?
doing 10 total.
Okay.
Yeah. We're doing 10 total.
Okay.
So it'll be 5 offensive candidates and then 5 defensive.
Good.
candidates.
Okay, cool. Because I've got a very deep
whatever
big
order
board.
you want. It's not like, okay, like you can only draft like 1 corner or something like that.
No, okay. Yeah.
It's pretty much free reign. By the way, before we get to this, how was the mock draft episode with you and Dalton? Doing the 2025 mock draft episode.
It was great. I was telling Eli this when it dropped. We shifted the odds on DraftKings like significantly. So remember I was telling you like James Pierce Jr. is like 22-1. He's like 7-1 right now, right after the mock draft dropped, which is crazy. Will Campbell 60-1 to 30-1. Mason Graham 100-1 to 75-1. That's your guy.
Let's go.
That was cool, man. That was a really cool feeling. I was like, oh my god, like this is like it's cool. That, like I'm sure a lot of other mock drafts also dropped at the same time, so it wasn't just PFFs. But I like to tell myself it was just PFFs that made the lines move that much.
No, it wasn't even just PFFs. It was just y'all's show.
It was just a show.
It was just the PFF college football show that moved the needle. Everyone in Vegas is paying as close attention as possible to that show, and you should be proud about it.
I was so mad though. I was telling Dawn the night before, I was like, dude, we need to like bet this before the mock draft drops because these odds are going to shift. And like I said, they did. They shifted dramatically. So it sucks that we can't make a lot of money off of it, but it was pretty cool that they shifted that much though.
I actually placed 3 bets for number 1 overall.
When?
Last like couple days ago.
Okay.
No. Last week. It was last week. It was right as I was leaving Cincinnati because I knew.
Why did you tell me?
I placed 3 bets. One of them was on James Pierce Jr. before his odds like plummeted. So I think I got him at 2,200.
Okay.
2,200 to 1 or to 100
22 to 1. Yeah.
To go number 1 overall. The other one was Abdul Carter.
Okay.
To go number 1.
I like it.
Because that was at plus 4,000 to go number 1 overall. And then who is the other one?
Maybe Mason Graham. Mason Graham was 100 to 1. And I know you said he's your number 1 guy.
I love Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. I just don't think he's going to go number 1.
Okay.
He's not
Fair
he's
enough.
not built. He's just not built that way. Who was the other one that I
Was it Deion Walker?
on there? No, because and this is a deeper conversation. The more I thought about Walker, the more I'm like, he is so unique. I just don't know if he's going number 1 overall. I don't. This is so small of a minute detail, but I don't know if the NFL is going to look at his like lower half and be like, this dude's 350 with small ankles. And I don't know. I don't know.
We're talking to him. We're talking to him later today. Actually, so I'm hyped about that. But is it Will Campbell? Will Campbell? Maybe, I don't know. It was probably someone like that. Was it a quarterback or I don't know.
You know what? You know what I should? You know what I should just do
pull up
instead of
your
being
app.
an idiot and just blabbering about? Why don't I just look it up? Why don't I look it up here?
Dude, why didn't you tell me you were betting it though? We could have had like a whole family bet for it. I'm pissed at you now, man.
Okay, so I got James Pierce Jr. at plus 1,700. Actually,
That's still really good.
okay, so I think that's good. Oh, never mind. I can't get into this because I'm locked into my FanDuel account because somebody tried to get into my FanDuel account. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that was
steal
me.
the $100
That was me
that's in there?
that was me to try to also get involved in your bets, dude. I'm like mad at you now. This sucks, Trevor. I'm like so mad at you that you did this without us.
Dude,
man.
why don't you just bet it? You know,
I couldn't do it. I was in Ohio.
Do it. Why don't you just
I
bet
was in
it?
Ohio. It wasn't available here. Oh my god, dude. I'm out for blood in this draft now, dude. I'm coming for you this draft now.
All right, let's
I'm
get into
mad
it.
at you now.
Let's get into it then. We will get to your revenge here. You can take it out here on this draft as we kind of started here. So, look, I didn't say these stipulations beforehand, but are we snake drafting here? Right? If I get the first pick, do you get 2 and 3?
Yeah, that's I think that's how it should be.
Okay, I agree. That is how it should be. I will give you the choice. Do you have a choice one way or the other?
Yes, please give me the first pick, please.
Okay, all right. Unfortunately, this is going to be a dub for you, because there's one player that I think is like a lock to win one of these awards.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You can go. You can go first.
All right. I'm taking the number 1 overall pick. I'm taking Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He's 2-1 right now. 2-1 on DraftKings right now. I'm going for the win here, Trevor. I think he could have like a CJ Stroud type of impact next year where we're like, wow, like that was one of the best rookie performances we've seen by a quarterback. I think the Bears could be a wild card team next year, honestly. That's how much of an impact I think Caleb Williams will have. You got DJ Moore there, you got Keenan Allen there, you got Rome Odunze there, up and coming offensive line as well. And honestly, he could set the Bears' single-season record for yards and touchdowns in a season because if he throws for 3,900 yards and 30 touchdowns, that sets the record for the Bears, which I think will be another great talking point for him. And also, we got to keep in mind with these awards, the hype for him is going to be insane. So everyone is going to be watching every single drop back that he takes in his rookie year. And I think he'll live up to the hype, man. I mean, he's the 4th highest graded quarterback we've ever had in the Power 5 for career-wise, only behind Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields. So I think Caleb Williams is the easy 1-1 here. He was the easy number 1 overall pick in the actual NFL draft. And I think he's the easy number 1 overall pick in the Rookie of the Year draft as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into this, and I completely agree with you. If I had the number 1 overall pick, I'd be taking Caleb Williams. It's hard to see a reality where there's one player, basically, that I think has the chance to beat out Caleb Williams for Rookie of the Year, because even his floor of what he is going to do this year, unless Williams gets hurt, which, of course, I knock on wood, everything, hope that this doesn't happen. Unless he gets hurt, he's going to start every single game this upcoming season. Volume alone, it's going to be really hard for him to not just like have the stats that you want for a Rookie of the Year. Now, you would think that like, okay, is this as much of a quarterback award as like MVP is? Not really. CJ Stroud won it last year, but Garrett Wilson won it the year before that. Jamar Chase the year before that. Then we got 2 quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray. Then it was back-to-back running backs, Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara. So Offensive Rookie of the Year history is a lot more open than I thought that it was going to be, but there's still really only one player who I think can really take this one. So my first pick then, if we're going the turn, if we're going to the next pick, I don't know if you wanted to say more on Caleb Williams, but if not, we can go to the next one.
No. Also, another thing I was going to bring up with him is I think his personality. Like I said, he's going to be in the news all the time. He's going to be going viral all the time, which is very important for these awards as well. Unfortunately, but yeah, so I think that's another thing to keep in mind too. And like I said, he's got a great supporting cast there in Chicago, and I think they could be a playoff team next year. And if they are, he's most likely winning this award.
Yeah, no question. If Chicago is any sort of successful next year, it's going to be because of Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And because of that, like you mentioned, everyone has been waiting for the Bears to turn it around. Everyone. They're going to be on ESPN. They're going to be on NFL Network. They're going to be here on this show. They're going to be on Good Morning Football. It's going to be – people are not going to be able to stop talking about what the Bears are doing if they're even remotely successful. So I agree with you. I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, hype and – just ultimate like media, how much people talk about these players goes into these awards, unfortunately, more than they should. Caleb's obviously going to be one of the most talked about players. And as we go to my first pick of this draft, since we are like going back to back and there's no like, oh, you picked the quarterback, now you can't pick one again. I have to take Jaden Daniels here at one of these two picks because of the turn. Because to me, Daniels is the only one who has a legitimate shot to beat out Caleb Williams. If Daniel starts right away, which maybe he won't, I don't know if he's going to, but I think that he will start relatively soon at some point in Washington. And because of that, the rushing ability and what he could be in a Cliff Kingsbury offense, that combination is what could allow him to get into the same stratosphere as what Caleb Williams is going to be able to do in Chicago. So I feel like I had to go with Jaden Daniels here as one of these picks here at the turn.
I don't hate it. He wouldn't have been my number 2 overall pick, but I think it makes a lot of sense. So, listen, you mentioned Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler Murray won Offensive Rookie of the Year under Cliff Kingsbury as well. So clearly knows what to do with a dual threat quarterback, and I think he's the best rushing quarterback we've seen come out of college since probably Lamar Jackson 6 years ago. So I think he's going to have big numbers on the air, on the ground. I think Jaden Daniels is probably one of my next picks. Would not have been my number 2 overall pick, and I'm wondering if you're going to take him here in the turn. But he's definitely one of my top picks for Offensive Rookie of the Year, obviously.
Yeah. This is tough because I think there are 3 players that were in play when I kind of like came onto the clock, and I felt like Daniels just had to be one of them because it is so much easier for a quarterback to win this award if they have any sort of statistics going their way whatsoever. So because of everything Daniels brings to the table as a runner as well as a passer, you mentioned how much people talk about somebody. If Daniels breaks off 2 40-plus yard runs for touchdown at any point this year, it's all people are going to talk about.
Yep.
Like when you see the Jaden Daniels, like that's all they're going to show, and they're going to be like, look at what he is on the ground. Like even if he barely runs to football outside of those, just those 2 plays could stand out. So the potential alone, I got to go with Daniels. Got to go with that connection with Cliff Kingsbury. For my second pick here, I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm gonna go with Harrison Jr. here. I'm gonna go back-to-back offensive players.
Okay.
This one was really tough for me, but Harrison has been unbelievably productive over the last 2 years at Ohio State as their number 1 wide receiver. Kyler Murray is gonna come back with a vengeance this year, full off season, fully healthy. Harrison Jr. is without question the top passing weapon that they have on this team, and just skill, production in college, situation for the NFL level. I got to go with Harrison Jr. here as this number 3 overall pick, number 2 pick for me. So it's back-to-back offense, but to me, he's just in a perfect situation to put up a crap ton of numbers. And like you said, like he's already got the famous name.
Yeah.
We're already talking about it a ton. So I think that's going in his favor as well.
I think this is a great pick. This is who I would have picked number 2 overall, honestly. Like you said, he's going to be the number 1 receiver immediately. They've won 2 of the last 3 Offensive Rookie of the Years, like you said as well. Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase. You can make a really good argument. Puka Nacua might have even deserved it last year over CJ Stroud. I think they got it right with Stroud, don't get me wrong, but Nacua was right up there as well. He's got a great quarterback in Kyler Murray, who also was really hyped when they picked him as well. He's a once-in-a-decade type of talent, and he's in a great spot to produce big numbers immediately. So I think this is clearly the number 2 pick I would have had if I had the number 2 slot as well.
All right, so now I'm a little nervous. You got back-to-backs here.
All right, I'm gonna go defense for the first time today. I'm not gonna go with the favorite. I'm gonna go with Laiatu Latu from the Colts, who is
he's not the favorite.
No.
Who is?
Dallas Turner is currently the favorite at plus 400. So
Latu
is
since you already picked him.
Yeah.
This was the other player that I was considering with one of my 2 selections. This is who it would have been. It was between Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Laiatu Latu with who's going to take this one. But,
I like you, Trevor. I had him as my number 1 edge in the draft, and probably even number 1 defensive player in the draft. I think he's the most NFL-ready pass rusher we've seen in a while, honestly. He had a 96.3 PFF grade. It's the highest we've ever given out to a Power 5 player. I think you adjust quickly to the NFL game and have NFL-ready moves, and maybe you put up double-digit sacks as a rookie with a ton of pressures. The only thing that scares me a little bit is that the Colts had the second lowest blitz rate last year. So, he probably will have some double teams at times, and maybe not as many free rushes or one-on-ones like a guy like Dallas Turner might have. But I still think Laiatu Latu was the most NFL-ready pass rusher, and I think he's going to be instantly an impactful defender for the Colts. So I think he's right now the favorite for defensive rookie of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's hard to disagree with you, especially when you look at the history of defensive rookie of the year voting. Right, it was Will Anderson this past year. Okay, so pass rusher, defensive lineman. It was Sauce Gardner the year before that, which is pretty crazy that Sauce won this award, because normally when you are a corner, in order to get this kind of recognition to win an award, you have to get a lot of interceptions. And he only had 2. And he had 20 passes defended. I'm not trying to take anything away from Sauce Gardner's season. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm just surprised that he ended up winning this with the statistics that he had. I can't remember who the others were. I could just click voting. Hold on, let me see. Who was it? Defensive rookie of the year. Oh, it was Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
Hutchinson had 9.5 sacks. Man, I'm surprised they didn't give it to Hutchinson. I think the New York media, and honestly, his name being Sauce Gardner, probably helps him out a little bit, just because of the hype that he had for him. But look, Sauce had an unbelievable year. I'm shocked that it happened, that he got that award, but I'm also glad that it did, because it showcased, hey, maybe the voters are willing to go away from the stats every now and then. But Micah Parsons, I'm listing off the other guys who won it. Micah Parsons, Chase Young, Nick Bosa were the next 3, all pass rushers. This is so often a very easy award to just be like, oh, did this guy get a lot of sacks? Okay, yeah, we're gonna give him the award. So you often lean defensive linemen, but I'm curious who you're gonna pick here next.
I know.
Because if you don't pick the defensive player I'm looking at, then I might take him on the turn here.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go defense again.
Okay,
I'm again passing on Dallas Turner. He's the favorite right now. I'm gonna go with a different player. I'm going Jared Verse for the Rams here.
Okay, all right.
I thought he was the second best edge in the draft after Laiatu Latu. He had the 3rd best pass rush win rate since 2022 in the country. I think he'll be immediately a starter on a playoff caliber team in Los Angeles, so I think matters a little bit as well. And you got Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk there as well, so he's not going to get double teamed probably as much. I think Jared Verse is probably going to have a pretty big impact both as a run defender and pass rusher for the Rams, and I think that he will be pretty quickly one of the better defensive players on that team, and I think he's probably a pretty good bet. I think he's a plus 1,100 right now on DraftKings. Yeah, plus 1,100. He's a 4th favorite for defensive rookie of the year right now, but I would probably put him 2nd. So I'm going to go with Jared Verse and Laiatu Latu as my 2 picks.
Yeah, the thing that holds me back from Verse being picking him as high as I would have in this group is I just don't know what his setup is going to be like with the Rams, because they do a lot of odd front stuff. And if I'm going to be honest, I liked Verse the best, and he had his best pass rush grade when he was more of a 4-3 defensive end. And that was when he could play as a 5 technique defensive end, have his hand in the dirt, use that leverage, use that speed to power, that explosiveness to really give offensive tackles all sorts of fits. If the Rams are going to stick more with that odd front, he's sort of like an in-between player. And that I don't think he's not going to be good for them. Yeah. I just wonder how much production he'll really be able to get as a 2-point edge rusher if you're going to stand him up as an outside linebacker, or as a crash down sort of interior defensive end type of a player. So I don't know. I have faith that the Rams are going to put they're talented players in the right situations. That role is just a little bit more difficult for me to be like, okay, this is exactly where I see him succeeding at the NFL level because he was able to do so in college. In fact, it's more of the, okay, when he was a 2-point rusher at Florida State, he wasn't as effective as he was when he was more of a 4-3 defensive end. So that's that's kind of what I think about that one.
It was fair. No, I like him. I think that's a good point, but I still think, I liked him the second best out of all these edges, more than Dallas Turner, who I'm hoping you might not take here and with one of your 2 picks. I would love that value in the 3rd round. But I do think Jared Verse is still a guy that I would trust to put up good enough numbers in LA. And like I said, they're going to be a playoff caliber team, which I think does matter for this award. So I think that he's going to have a chance at winning Defensive Rookie of the Year next year.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'll tease it so people pay more attention to these next 2 picks. Dallas Turner is not going to be one of my next 2 picks. I'm not going to take Dallas.
You're just handing me this draft then. Thank you.
I'm what?
You're handing me this draft.
Be careful what you wish for, brother. So my next pick is going to be another offensive selection.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. I'll have 3 offensive guys here to start.
Are you going Dallas's teammate here?
Wait, who? What?
JJ.
Dallas? No. I'm not going McCarthy.
Okay.
I'm going Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
Here with this selection. Malik has the opportunity to just absolutely have a Thanksgiving feast of volume this upcoming season. He is instantly wide receiver 1 on that team. On a team that so very desperately needs to win football games. Not too long ago, exactly 10 years ago, wide receiver from LSU who got drafted by the New York Giants happened to also win Rookie of the Year, and Odell Beckham Jr. And really, I mean, outside of the LSU parallels, I think Malik is in a situation where they could be running the offense through him by midway through the season. Like the volume that Malik Neighbors could get in this offense is insane. And that to me is something that really going to stand out when it comes to total yards and touchdowns and things like that. So it's a team and an organization that knows that it has to be a lot better than it was the year before. They're going to try to put Daniel Jones in his most advantageous situations that they possibly can. I think that he could be a good short yardage, intermediate type of receiver for Daniel Jones. Or if they end up going with Drew Lock at some point, I think he is a top tier vertical option for Drew Lock, and that only helps him as well. So no matter what the quarterback situation is, I have faith that they are going to feed Malik Neighbors to football in this Giants offense. So I'm going with Malik Neighbors here as my next pick in this draft.
That's a great pick. I think it's going to be the top weapon immediately, not even top receiver. I mean, he lost Saquon Barkley. This team's going to be throwing a lot more probably next year as well. Also, I mean, the Giants are probably going to be down in a lot of games as well. So they're probably going to be throwing because of that as well. So I think he's put up huge numbers. He was the best receiver in college football this past season, in my opinion. Not the guy I would have gone with, but I'm kind of happy how this draft's shaking out for me. But it is a great pick. He was definitely one of the next guys I was eyeing for sure.
Yeah, where was he in the odds?
He's plus 1,200 right now.
So he is
fifth, yes, in offensive rookie of the year odds.
Yeah, because there's one other player that is above Neighbors who I don't think should be. But
Okay. All right.
So I'm gonna pick my first defensive player here with this next one. Or do I not?
Those are the 2 options, actually. Yeah, correct.
Those are my 2 options. No, okay, I have to go defense because I think you have the overwhelming favorite for offense. So no matter how many offensive guys I stack, it might be futile with you having Caleb Williams there. So I'm going to go with the defensive player that I think could have a Sauce Gardner-like effect this upcoming season. Who do you think I'm picking?
It's got to be Quinyon, right?
No.
Dude. Oh, my gosh, Trevor. Wow.
I'm taking Terrion Arnold.
Wow.
I'm taking Terrion Arnold here. And where is Arnold listed?
Plus 1,300. Plus 1,300. So
he is 5th. So on the list that I'm looking at right now, he is tied with Quinyon for the top odds for a corner to win the award.
DraftKings Quinyon has plus 1,000. But yeah, I don't know where you're looking, but
okay, all right. So the reason why I'm taking Terrion Arnold is because a lot of what we talked about before. 1, I think that he will have a chance to earn a starting spot.
Yep.
2, the media already loves this dude. I mean, his personality is larger than life. He's fantastic in every interview he gives. If Terrion happens to get 4 interceptions this year, like just like 4, if he happens to get 4, maybe 2 of them are completely lucky. I don't care. If he gets 4 interceptions and Detroit, and he is a starting outside cornerback of the Lions, whose defense is playing great and they're winning the division and they're going to make a run for the Super Bowl, that dude really could win Defensive Rookie of the Year. They could point to him and say, look how bad the secondary was last year. Look how much he has really helped. He's been getting turnovers. He's somebody who is in front of the media. You love every single interview that he gives. To me, Terrion Arnold, of anybody in this group, could really stand out amongst the cornerback position to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So with Latu off the board, Arnold was actually my second-ranked defensive guy here. So I'm getting him right here at my second pick of the turn.
I can't hate it, honestly. And he's playing on one of the best teams in the league as well, in the Detroit Lions. So I mean, he's going to be in the spotlight a lot. You got Aiden Hutchinson rushing the passer, maybe forcing some errant throws to Terrion Arnold as well.
Yeah, baby.
I like it. I like it. It's not the corner I would have gone with, but I do like the value here of Terrion Arnold. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid pick.
I'm wondering if I already just like named your next 2 picks that you have coming up here.
I'm actually going to double up on Minnesota Vikings here. So I will be going. I'll be going with Dallas Turner here. Again, he is the current betting favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Clearly, you and I don't agree with that. But he's got a high ceiling as a pass rusher, physical, really great physical tools. He improved his pass rushing grade by 15 points this past year, so he's only getting better, 89.3, as you see right there. Another thing I love, Trevor, the Vikings blitzed on 58% of their passing plays last year, which was the highest rate in the league by far, which means Dallas Turner could have some free rushes, get some easy sacks, or at least have a lot of one-on-ones. So I think Dallas Turner, I see why he is the favorite, because I think the scheme fit is great for him. And again, how much they blitz would be really advantageous for him. I just think some other guys are a little bit better. But here, I think the value is too good for me to pass him up here.
So it's hard for me to really nitpick on this too much, and I'm not going to. But I am surprised that Turner's odds are higher than, or lower, I should say, than Latu's, because of simply the situation that they're in, right? I mean, this team gives out a pretty decent sized contract to John Grenard in free agency. Signs Andrew Van Ginkel, good veteran, for a 2-year deal. So it's like, do I think that Turner is going to play? Yes, plenty. I absolutely think that he's going to play this season. But it's not, I don't know if he's going to get the volume of opportunities to get sacks the way that Latu is, the way that maybe even Verse is. So, shoot, I probably would have Dallas Turner again behind Terrion Arnold. I'd have him like 3rd in my book at best to win this
Trevor
award,
Sikkema book,
just because of the situation. But like you said, Brian Flores, he sets guys up really well. He understands guys' strengths. Even if it's just as more of a designated pass rusher, they're gonna get Dallas Turner on the field, right? They didn't trade all those draft picks to move up to 17 to go get him for nothing. So they're gonna get him on the field. It's just not as straight lined, I should say, of a pass to volume statistics with Turner the way that it is for a guy like Arnold even and a guy like Latu especially. So that's kind of where I am on Turner. But obviously at this point in the draft, good value with him being the betting favorite overall.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll actually go with his teammate here as my other pick, and that is J.J. McCarthy, who Minnesota got at number 10 overall, I believe. Yeah, so he might not be the starter immediately, but I think he'll take over fairly quickly with only Sam Darnold really to beat out right now. I think he's in the best situation of any rookie quarterback. He has the best receiver in the world in Justin Jefferson, great number 2 receiver in Jordan Addison, a top 10 tight end TJ Hawkinson. You got Aaron Jones to help out in the running game, Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill at tackle protecting you, and then Kevin O'Connell is calling plays for you as well. So J.J. McCarthy wasn't one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft. I would have had him probably QB4, but I think he's in by far the best situation probably of any rookie quarterback this year. So I think he could do really well in Minnesota because of that situation, and I think he's probably pretty good value here to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, look, I think that the key to this for McCarthy is just how quickly he starts, right? If you tell me that McCarthy's starting week 1 and they're very confident in him, I could absolutely see him winning Rookie of the Year. He's got the 4th highest odds where I'm looking right now, which I think is just a Vegas Insider, just like overall stuff. So he's got the 4th highest odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but if he's not starting until like week 6 or week 7, are we really even getting the volume that we need to see from him?
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Yeah.
That's kind of the question, because at that point it becomes it was Brock Purdy's situation, right? Where like Purdy comes in halfway through his rookie season and he's basically got the 49ers on a Super Bowl type of consistency trajectory. And people were like, this guy's the rookie of the year. And you're going, he played like 8 games, like 7 games. And so I wonder if that's where we might get with McCarthy if he is not starting right away. So if you tell me that he's starting any like week 4 on, okay, now yeah, he's definitely got a good chance to win rookie of the year. But if it's further than that, if we start getting into, okay, he's not a starter for the first time until like week 7-ish, midway through the season, then it gets a little bit squirrely just because he might not have the volume that he needed. But I don't know, what do you think about that? Do you think that he's gonna play right away? Because I agree with you, the situation in Minnesota is great. I just don't know when he's gonna start.
That's why he went lower for me here, and why I think he went lower for both of us here. Again, it's Sam Darnold though. Like I feel like at some point, like if Darnold stinks the first couple of weeks, like people are gonna be begging to see McCarthy go out there, and I think I don't know. I think he's gonna go out there relatively. Like I feel like within the first 4 weeks is pretty safe to project to at least see McCarthy out there. And then I think once he gets out there with that situation, he should be able to do well pretty quickly. So again, that's why I took him lower, is that he's not guaranteed to be a starter like Caleb Williams or even Jaden Daniels is immediately. But I think that situation, man, like he said, like a Brock Purdy type thing, or Purdy played half the year, and people were still begging to have him as the offensive rookie of the year. So it could be like that, honestly, because of how good the situation is in Minnesota. So that's why I think the value is there for McCarthy more than other guys, say, in this offensive rookie of the year race.
All right, so you got 2 offensive players.
Yep.
You got 3 defensive players.
My top 3 defensive players, by the way, too.
That were on your board?
Yeah, top 3. Yeah. Very happy with this draft right now.
My next pick is going to be a defensive pick because I need it. It's going to be Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Seattle. I feel like this is sort of an obvious one. I'm not going to think too far outside the box here. I think Murphy's going to have a chance to start right away. He's got really good quickness to him. Didn't get a ton of stats while he was at Texas, but real young football player. He's going to get the opportunity to start right away. I actually like the interior defensive line that we have in Seattle that he gets to play next to. The edge rushers, okay, they need to be a little bit better, but at the same time, it's like, all right, well, the edge rushers aren't really getting home. That actually just helps Byron Murphy get home a little bit more, can get those sacks. So I think that he's going to be a pivotal part of what they're doing even this upcoming season. His odds are, I think, top 5 when it comes to defensive rookie of the year odds. Close. What is he? 5, 6?
Yeah, he's tied for 5th. Yeah,
tied for 5th. So yeah, I mean, this is probably the area, the round that he should go. But yeah, what do you think about Byron Murphy overall? Did you like Johnny Newton more than you like Byron Murphy?
Yeah,
I don't think either of us are going to pick Johnny Newton.
I wish I could. I wish I could pick Johnny, and maybe I will. He's still in my top 10. So if all my guys could take him before, maybe I'll have to take Johnny. But it's just Byron's in a better spot, honestly, to win defensive rookie of the year, which is why I like Johnny more as a player, and I would have taken him over him if they were in a similar situation. But Johnny's just in a spot where he might not be able to start. Murphy is, and Murphy was the best pass rushing D tackle in the country this last year. I mean, he led all FBS D tackles in pass rushing grade, pass rush win rate, and pressure rate. So, like I said, he's going to be an immediate starter for Seattle, and I agree with you. I think he's going to be instantly impactful, at least as a pass rusher for them, which is really important for defensive rookie of the year race. So I think it's a pretty good pick by you here with Byron Murphy.
Okay, so I was toying around with potentially going back to the offensive side of the ball, but I'm going to stick with defense. I'm going to go Quinyon Mitchell here. I cannot allow you to get Latu versus Turner and Quinyon. That would have been too good to be true for you. So Quinyon, again, is in a situation where it's tough for corners to win this award, especially as rookies, because playing the position as a rookie is very, very difficult, even for as talented as guys like Quinyon Mitchell. But we saw this at the Senior Bowl, man. Ultra competitive player, was locking down all sorts of different wide receivers. It's much like Terry and Arnold. The key to this will be interceptions. And Arnold, I think, has a little bit of a boost because it's that personality. People know his name already. Like he's flashy in the headlines and all of that. So that helps his case a little bit. Where Quinyon, what helps his case is certainly being in Philly, I think, is important. It's going to be a team that's going to contend for the division and a playoff spot, which I do think is a big deal. And their secondary being as bad as it was last year, I think is going to be a selling point if Quinyon is able to really lock things down. But it comes down to, once again, those interceptions. Now, he had a lot of forced incompletions. He had the most forced incompletions of any corner in the FBS over the last 2 years. Had a handful of interceptions, but like 4 of them came in one game, right? So I don't know if that's going to happen, anything close to that at the NFL level. But again, if you are a rookie corner and you get your hands on 4 to 5 interceptions, even if a couple of them are luck, if the rest of your stats are good, all of a sudden now you get considered. And then, okay, well, he's on a secondary that, it's making a deep playoff run, and, so much improvement with him there. You almost get a little bit of an MVP value flair to it. So Quinyon here, to me, had to take him off the board, could not let you get him and the rest of the edge rushers that you got. So got to take Quinyon here.
That's a great pick. That's exactly what I was going with next. That 4 interception game, that Northern Illinois game, right, was it, that he played against?
Yeah, and it was just like
maybe the worst quarterback play I've ever seen, dude. It was almost like they were lobbing it to
brother,
him.
just stop throwing to that side of the field. Just cut the field in half. Don't look that direction.
It was the
very
funniest...
clearly you don't have the arm that you think you have.
No, it was the funniest 4 interceptions I've ever seen because he was basically just lobbing it to Quinyon, and he to his credit, he came down with it. But yeah, man, he's been dominant. I mean, he's been the nation's highest graded corner in each of the last 2 years. Like I said, most forced incompletions in that span. I think he'll have great ball production in that defense, and also you got a great pass rush in front of him, and Jalen Carter, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith. They're going to get after the quarterback, which means some errant throws could be coming to Quinyon Mitchell. So that's exactly who I was targeting with my next pick, and kind of leaves me scrambling right now for who I'm going to take.
All right, well,
next.
I'll let you. I'll give you a couple more seconds because I'll recap it for everybody who's just joining the show. So what we're doing here is we are drafting offensive and defensive rookie of the year candidates. 5 offensive rookies of the year, 5 defensive rookies of the year for each of us. So 10 players total. Right now, we're about halfway through the draft. I have on the offensive side of the ball, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. On defense, I got Terry Arnold, Byron Murphy, and Quinyon Mitchell. Max has Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy on the offensive side of things. And then on defense, he's got Laiatu Latu, Jared Verse, and Dallas Turner. Max, you now got back-to-back picks. Buddy, you're up.
Dude, I'm scrambling right now. I think I'm
not
gonna go...
as easy now.
No,
right?
no, now it's tough. I'm going to go... I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean, Quinyon's teammate from the Eagles. He's just a damn good football player. I think he's going to play in the nickel for Philadelphia. He's a great run defender, great in coverage, obviously. I think we'll have a few plays on the football this year, which helps his case as defensive rookie of the year. He's about as NFL ready as it gets. He's got a high ceiling, really good athleticism as well. I'm wondering if he's going to return punts for them as well, which I don't know if that plays into it at all. But if he does, and it does play into it,
it would play into like the hype part of it.
Yes, the hype part, yeah, which I think will help. And again, he's on a great team. I think he's going to be starting immediately in Philadelphia. I like Quinyon a lot more for this, but I think Cooper DeJean could also be an instantly impactful player for them and just be immediately one of the top slot corners in the league, in my opinion. So I like the value here. I think he's plus 2,000 right now. But there's other corners like Quinyon Mitchell and Terry Arnold that I would have liked better here, but I still think Cooper DeJean's a great football player, and I think he'll be a great one for Philadelphia next year.
Yeah, and I think again, I'd sound like a parrot at this point, but interceptions matter a ton. When you force turnovers, it matters a lot, and Cooper has elite ball skills. So if he's on the field and he has an opportunity to go snag the ball out of the air, he's pretty much coming down with it. You saw on the screen right there, 0 dropped interceptions. Over the last, I think that was just last year, but I think that would be over the last 2 years as well. So with the interceptions this guy's gotten and the amount of interceptions that he returned for touchdown as well, like that stuff goes into it. If he were to swing things with not just an interception and a turnover, but also a touchdown, like again, like it's huge for him. So yeah, there's a reason why some of those other defensive players are better odds than him to win the award. But here at this part of the draft, I think this is good value here. Very intrigued of who this next pick is going to be for you, because I think I have 2 runaway players if you don't pick either.
Runaway? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going off the board here a little bit, Trevor. This guy is plus 2,800 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. So a little bit off the board. Okay. I'm going Keon Coleman.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going Keon Coleman, wide receiver for the Bills. I think he'll be maybe Josh Allen's #1 target immediately. Right now, Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel's in that room and then wide receiver room. Also, this is important. This is off the field. The guy is freaking hilarious. He's going to be going viral every single week in his press conferences. Media are going to love him.
That's true.
That plays a part, I think. That plays a part. So his personality is great. He's going to be the #1 receiver for one of the best quarterbacks in the league on one of the best teams in the league. I think this is a really, really good dark horse bet for Offensive Rookie of the Year for a number of reasons, like I just said. So I like Keon Coleman from the Bills here as kind of like a dark horse for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
You know, when it comes to like long shot bets, I do like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Now, Coleman wasn't who I was thinking of next, but honestly, now that we're talking about him, he probably should have been, just because you mentioned, you know, for as much as, okay, Coleman doesn't separate nearly as well. He's not exactly a high contested catch percentage type of a player, even though he's got some nasty contested catch reps out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like all this, you can talk about all this, but at the end of the day, who else are they throwing the ball to outside of, you know, the tight ends that they have on this offense? I mean, Keon Coleman's going to be a volume stud on that team. So I think that this is a good pick if you're looking for volume. I think that this one makes a ton of sense. So I got now a little bit of back-to-back. I said home run, but now I'm kind of second-guessing myself here. All right, I think I'd be okay with either of the offensive players. I think I gotta snag some of these defensive guys. All right. I'm gonna go with Peyton Wilson first.
Ooh.
The linebacker from Pittsburgh.
No ACL.
Because if he doesn't have an ACL and he's still out here contributing, I mean, look at what he did this past year as the nation's top linebacker, man.
Yeah.
Elite coverage grade, elite, like top tier run defense grade, really good pass rusher as well. This guy's got the opportunity to force fumbles for you, to have a really high coverage grade, to get sacks, to be just somebody who is all over the field. Linebackers have the innate ability as in the middle of the field to really stuff the stat sheet, not just like with total tackles, but if Peyton Wilson can get a starting linebacker spot on this team to start the season, I really do think that he can stuff the stat sheet. And at the end of the year, he can really he can really have an impressive stat sheet, because they have Patrick Queen, but then I know they got Cole Holcomb as well, Elandon Roberts. Like, Peyton Wilson could honestly be a contributing, if not starting linebacker for this team pretty quickly. So I'm going to go with Peyton Wilson here as one of my selections. Actually, what do you think about Peyton Wilson?
I love it, dude. I love it. I think it's a really fun pick as well. I mean, this is actually this is the biggest underdog we've had. He's plus 3,500 right now to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is tied for 14th in odds. So I agree with you. I think he's the best linebacker probably in college football this past season. Great at everything, honestly. He's a great athlete as well. And like I said, in Pittsburgh's defense, he's probably going to be starting immediately if he's healthy. So I like it a lot as another dark horse, kind of back-to-back dark horses we've had so far. But yeah, I like the value there for Peyton Wilson for sure.
Now this one might be a bigger dark horse. I'm very curious if the list that you have has this one as a bigger dark horse. I'm gonna round it out with my final defensive player here.
Okay.
I'm going Braden Fisk.
Ooh.
From the Rams.
Okay.
Here's why. I was higher on Fisk when it came to the NFL draft. He was a top 40 player for me when it was all said and done. His quickness and his ability to get in the backfield is incredibly impressive. Now, didn't exactly have the greatest overall grades for the season, and when it came to like pressures and production in the backfield, wasn't great. But the second half of the season, when he really acclimated to ACC play, I thought he was very impactful. So I think the best is yet to come for him. And you got to remember this too. The Rams traded a lot. They traded a heavy second-round pick from next year's value to go up and get him in the second round. They're going to play this guy early, and they're going to put him next to Kobe Turner. And they're going to say, all right, pin the ears back, get after the passer. So I think there is a world where Fisk could really rack up some tackles for loss and some sacks this year. So he is my kind of like Hail Mary, dark horse type of a player on that defensive line to actually get the backfield production that matters. I think we saw Kobe Turner do it last year, and he didn't get the recognition that he deserved. Maybe people are going to pay a little bit more attention if Fisk happens to do the same thing this year.
I like it. He's tied for 19th, I think, in odds right now. He's plus 5,000. So this is the biggest dark horse so far.
Yep.
I like it though. I like it a lot. We actually interviewed him about a couple months ago, and he is great guy, and also I think he's just an unbelievable football player as well. Was great at Western Michigan, was great at Florida State this past year, an unreal combine, great Senior Bowl. This guy is just on fire right now, so that could continue into his rookie year alongside his teammate in Jared Verse. I like it a lot. I think this is a really fun dark horse right now. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be going too many more dark horses here with some other guys on the board, but yeah, I like Braden Fisk a lot as like I said, like a Hail Mary shot for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Well, you got back-to-backs here. I don't have any. I just to be a good sport.
I know. Oh, I know.
Sportsmanship. I don't have any defensive picks left.
Yes.
So
I will be targeting offense here to steal from you. My first one I'm going to go with is Drake May, who's the quarterback for the Patriots, currently plus 1,800. He's competing with Jacoby Brissett for the starting job. I think he'll probably win it relatively quickly in his rookie year. The problem with Drake May, and I love Drake May, if he went to the Commanders, he might be my number 2 overall pick behind Caleb Williams. Problem is, you're going to New England, which is a bad situation right now. You got a bad receiving core, bad offensive line. I think Caden Wallace is probably their starting left tackle, which is not great considering he's never played left tackle before. And I don't think he was that great at right tackle for Penn State either. So the offensive line is still a work in progress. And then you don't have an offensive-minded head coach either in Gerard Mayo. So a lot working against Drake May in New England. The thing about him, though, I love him. I thought he was the second-best quarterback in the draft. I would have taken him second overall. He's overcome bad situations before. He had 90-plus grades in both of his years as UNC's starting quarterback. UNC, over the last 2 years, was 54th in the country in pass blocking grade, and they were 55th in receiving grade last year. So he's overcome, and play calling there has always been questionable at best for North Carolina. So I think he's overcome bad situations before. Obviously, the ACC is a lot different than the NFL, but I still think that he could be a guy that does well next year because I'm that high on Drake May. I think he could be a Justin Herbert type of quarterback in this league. The New England Patriots have to surround him with more talent in order to do that, but I think he's going to be a guy that I would at least bet on here at the end of this Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year draft as a guy who has a chance at taking home the award.
Look, I like Drake May a lot. I had him as QB2 in this class. He was a number 3 overall player for me. I was pretty comfortable not taking him at all in this exercise just because of the landing spot, right? I mean, like you mentioned, it's going to be so much for him to overcome. And I don't know if he will actually get the credit he deserves if he overcomes that situation the way that he would need to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if we would get to that point where we would say, like, let's say a world exists where, you know, Drake May goes off and Caleb Williams plays fine, like, well, like, is Drake actually going to get the bump that he should? If the stats are similar, is Drake actually going to get the bump that he should because of what he's doing in New England versus Caleb, what he's doing in a more favorable situation in Chicago? I don't know if we're going to get to that point, so that's why I was comfortable kind of letting him slip in this exercise. So.
Yeah, me too. And I'm banking on people hopefully realizing that. I'm banking on people being like, look at how bad that supporting cast is, and look at how good he's still playing. I'm hoping that will be the case, but I think you're right. I think most people probably wouldn't be able to realize that, or most voters at least. But all right, my second pick here, another offensive guy. I'm between 2 receivers right now. I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy over Rome Odunze because I was thinking about Odunze was actually higher on my board initially, and then I thought about it, and I was like, well, if Odunze is good, that means Caleb's good probably, and Caleb will win that award over him. So I'm not going with Rome Odunze. I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy here. He's plus 1,600. He could be Patrick Mahomes' top receiver immediately. Rashee Rice, man, the legal issues for him keep stacking up, it seems like. So Worthy could be, with Travis Kelce, like the other top weapon for Kansas City next year. Anytime you're Patrick Mahomes' top weapon as a rookie, you're going to probably put up some big numbers. So if anyone knows how to take advantage of his speed, the 4.21 speed that we saw, it's Andy Reid and it's Patrick Mahomes. So again, there's issues with Worthy. I'm with you, Trevor. I would have taken him more like late second round probably, but he's in a great spot to immediately produce in Kansas City as one of the top teams as well. So I think there's a good chance he could put up some big numbers with Patrick Mahomes next year as a deep threat for them. And I think the value here is too good to pass up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was really hoping that you would not have taken Xavier Worthy. This is somebody that I would have really wanted for the reasons of volume. I mean, he's their top deep threat now. We don't know what the future is going to hold for Rashee Rice, excuse me. And I think that just overall the situation is too good for him to honestly be going this late in the draft. I would have taken him a little bit sooner. I almost took him a little bit sooner, and certainly would have taken him right here. So I got 2 picks left. They're both going to be wide receivers here. There's pros and cons to him, but it's the last 2 picks of the draft. Brian Thomas Jr. is one of my picks here, and then A.D. Mitchell is my other pick here. So I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going to go with A.D. Mitchell. Now, for both of these guys, the reasons why I'm picking him and what I like about him is a lot of the same stuff. It's touchdown potential for both of these players. You look at touchdown percentages of when A.D. Mitchell was on the field playing football games and when he scored touchdowns, extremely high over his entire college career, even going back to his time at Georgia. And so even in an offense that has Josh Downs, that wants to, run the football with both Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, you have Michael Pittman Jr. as well. It's not a volume get for A.D. Mitchell, but it might be if this guy gets enough touchdowns, like if he's getting double-digit touchdowns, now are we talking about something here with him? And I think the same thing with Brian Thomas Jr. I've said this before on a couple of PFF shows, said it on my podcast. The Jags really wanted to push the ball down the field last year. They were top 10, if not top 5 in total receiving yards, total receiving touchdowns, big time throws, and completion percentage on throws of 20 or more yards down the field. It's exactly what Brian Thomas Jr. did well at LSU. He led the country in touchdown receptions this past year. He was an incredible receiver. On throws of 20 or more yards, Brian Thomas Jr. last year in the FBS was ranked first, second, or third in total yards, total receptions, and receiving touchdowns when it came to that stuff. So it's exactly where the Jags want to go. So I think those touchdown volume statistics are kind of what I'm taking a Hail Mary with, full pun intended, with these 2 receivers here to round out my draft. So you got one more pick left. Who's it going to be? I
like the Brian Thomas a lot, because I think Trevor Lawrence, to his credit and to his detriment, he pushes the ball downfield as much as he possibly can. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. will fit that really well for him. So I think it's a good pick. I love the A.D. Mitchell call out too. I wasn't even thinking about him, but I think now that I'm thinking about it even more, I think he could be.
He's like plus 4,500 or something, man.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
That's solid. So are you with me on Rome Odunze? It's just if he's good, that means Caleb's good, and then he's not going to win it probably then?
Rome's not on my board at all. There was no situation where I was taking Rome Odunze, and it is not in any way a shot at who he is as a player, but he's in an offense that, one, has DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, so you're not getting the natural volume that other rookie receivers would get. And like you said, if he's going off, Caleb's going off. So they're going to give the award to Caleb. So
all right, cool. I want to make sure we're on the same. All right, this last one is tough because I'm between 3 guys who probably are not going to start next year.
I shouldn't have given you that hint, by the way.
What?
I shouldn't have just agreed with you. I should have been like, you can take him if you want.
Oh, Rome Odunze?
Yeah, and see if you would have done it.
I would not have done it. I don't fall to peer pressure that easily, Trevor. You know what? I got to do it. I'm going with my guy. I'm going Johnny Newton, Commanders. Plus,
there it is, folks.
I have to. He's my guy. Plus 3,500. Over the last 2 years, leads all D tackles in the country in pressures and run defense stops. All-American in the last couple years. Great tape, great technique as well. Problem with him and why he's going to the last pick here is because Jonathan Allen's there. Deron Payne is there. This was a kind of a luxury pick for Washington. But, man, he is such a damn good football player, and I would not be surprised if he takes over one of those 2 starting spots next year because he's that good, honestly. So I think he could pretty quickly establish himself as a starter for Washington, even though there's 2 great D tackles ahead of him already. I think Johnny Newton's that good, and I wish he was in a better spot for this award because I really would have taken him a lot higher than this. But I'm still going to give him a shout-out here because I think there's a chance he could still pull it off.
A top 12 football player on my board for last year, and I agree. I think the situation is really the only thing holding him back from potentially winning that Defensive Rookie of the Year because I think he has the skill set in the game to really be able to hit the ground running. I just think it's going to be a pretty deep rotation in Washington. All right, y'all. You got to let us know who you think won. Now, obviously, it's not just like an overall thing, although I guess it could be, but it's about who we think is going to come away with these awards. And my 5 on offense after this draft: Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and A.D. Mitchell. Max's 5 on offense: Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, Keon Coleman, Drake May, and Xavier Worthy. On defense, my 5: Terrion Arnold, Byron Murphy, Quinyon Mitchell, Peyton Wilson, Braden Fisk, and Max's 5: Laiatu Latu, Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, Cooper DeJean, and I said Jerzon, but it was a combination of like Jerzon and Johnny because I don't know which one to call him. Johnny Newton. We're cool. I'll call him Johnny. We go way back.
Yeah. I feel great, Trevor. I don't know about you. I feel really good about this. Xavier Worthy made me feel really good.
I really do think that even though you got the favorites in Latu and Williams, I feel pretty good about Arnold and Jaden Daniels and Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially playing that spoiler for where the odds are currently set up. So I think I've got the better depth than you do with all my 5, even though you have some of the guys at the top. So we'll have to see. We'll have to revisit this. We got to have like a bet on the line. Like next time I'm there, like I owe you knockback Nats or something or whatever. Like we gotta put something on the line. Or, a full month's paycheck, something very casual.
Or how about if I win and Pierce goes number 1 overall, I get your bet instead of you.
Well, no, because I got it in incredibly high odds, and I'm absolutely going to cash the hell out. But I will buy you knockback Nats with that win if that absolutely happens.
Not enough, dude. I'm so mad at you for this. I'm so mad at you.
You can still bet him. What's that right now?
I couldn't do it. It's too much. It's plus 700 now. It's not worth it.
Dude, that's worth it.
It's still worth it, but man, plus 1700, whatever you got it at that's juicy. Oh man,
I got him at plus. Yeah.
Just you don't ride for the boys, Trevor. You could have told all of us, hey, I'm laying this down.
All right. Okay.
You're not for the boys. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Don't question my loyalty here. I appreciate everybody watching and listening to the show. Sam and Steve will be back. I don't know. Next time, whenever that next time is. Didn't ask him. Normally how I end the show.
No, we're taking over the show now.
Realized that I didn't know when they were going to be at. What'd you say?
It's our show now. We're just taking over now.
Yeah. It's PFF NFL Draft Show with Max and Trev. No, the boys will be back at some point. We'll have to get their takes actually on this draft and see what they thought of our groupings and who they think is going to win. Appreciate everybody watching and listening to the show. From Max Chadwick, I'm Trevor Sikkema. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.